Hello, I'm Kate Copeland. Nicole and I are most honored to be joining you today. As a faculty member at the University of Delaware English Language Institute, I had the privilege of working with 90 of Saudi Arabia's expert teachers across 2 years in the Khibrat program. Another of my assignments was as an elementary ESL specialist for a Delaware school district, working primarily with young Arabic speakers and providing professional development for classroom teachers. Before joining UD, I also led a French-Spanish world language program for kindergarten through 3rd grade.
I'm Nicole Service, and I've been a faculty member at the University of Delaware for 12 years now. With the outstanding Khibrat teachers, I was privileged to serve as a PLC mentor, EFL methods course instructor, and academic coordinator. I was a K-12 ESL teacher, ESL department chair, and district technology trainer in Fairfax County, Virginia, a district which has the 4th largest population of English language learners in the United States.
We will talk about the practical matters of teaching young learners, what we teach and how we teach this young age, and we'll look at practice in action. These evidence-based approaches that you'll see are referenced in the handout, along with links to many resources. We look forward to hearing your questions both during and after our presentation. Research shows that early language instruction can increase metalinguistic skills. In other words, provide a deeper understanding of how language works. This helps students improve skills in the first language and to enhance overall academic performance. For young learners, the first goal is to foster motivation for learning English. At this age, children acquire rules and patterns in any language as they notice them. So we can use their natural curiosity to teach about English, but also about other things through English. In this way, we can also create learning experiences where children can feel success and empower them to keep going in their language studies later. Throughout our presentation, you will see examples of these key best practices: daily routines and procedures, short mini lessons with lots of hands-on activities, physical movement or total physical response, and rich visual support for meaningful input. We find that young children learn best when they know exactly what to expect and what is expected of them. In U.S. elementary classrooms, effective teachers spend time practicing the specific observable behaviors that we want children to do. Regular class routines and procedures help children get to work quickly when class time is short.
Establish the culture that's going to happen in your classroom throughout the year. It allows students to feel comfortable and also get them to understand what you expect of them and then get to know how the classroom works.
In language classes, routines are also a great way to practice common English words. Language teachers explain and practice with students how and when to talk, how to engage with other students respectfully, and what to do when they need help.
It's a signal to me that you need help on directions.
They also teach transition cues so that students know when to pay attention to the teacher or when to get ready to begin the next part of a lesson.
It took us 1 minute and 8 seconds.
And they reward students when they have been successful with compliments, group team points, or other acknowledgments. This creates a comfortable community for language learning.
56 seconds. Good job, my friends. Excellent work. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was very good.
A great online tool for this purpose is Class Dojo, which can be used in both face-to-face and online classes.
In almost every elementary school classroom, including the world language classroom, you'll see students engaging in a warm-up activity. A common warm-up activity is morning message, which is a part of the morning meeting responsive classroom technique. In a morning message, students interact with a short text that the teacher has written. the text can introduce the lesson and tie it to the previous work, as well as review class rules and procedures. Other common warm-ups might be a choral reading or a song that relates to the lesson of the day. Your textbook is likely to have some useful chants and songs that you can use for this purpose. The warm-up typically takes around 5 minutes. Many world language classrooms have textbooks, just like you do. Teachers use activities like the ones described following together with the textbook. The use of a target narrative text or story allows for extension beyond the excellent framework that the textbook provides. Often in the United States, teachers will organize their instruction thematically around the target text. Stories allow us to place the input within a context, rather than presenting disconnected facts or pieces of information. It creates more cognitive hooks on which students can hang their ideas. Teachers will also commonly use the target text as a launch pad for speaking, listening, and writing activities. If I want to introduce the letters of the alphabet, I might read a text like R is for Rocket, which is a story about a dog named Rocket and his friends who are learning the alphabet. I can use that text for all sorts of extension activities. When we use pieces of literature as target texts, it allows students to more easily make connections to themselves, to the world around them, and to other knowledge they might already have.
My mom said we cannot go out because it was raining. It was a very bad, yucky, nasty, unpleasant day.
Physical movement is important for active engagement of young learners. Children can practice English through non-linguistic physical response. Even when they are not yet ready to speak or write, they can learn the meanings of words by following directions and imitating the teacher's movements. This well-researched practice is called Total Physical Response, or TPR. It can be part of any lesson in order to connect meaning to language. Children can play simple games like Simon Says, or make hand gestures to songs they sing together, or do the actions to stories as the teacher reads aloud.
Hug your teddy. Kiss your doll. Yes, good. Fly your plane.
Visual support is another important way to connect language to meaning, and it should accompany most English input. Pictures, realia or props, images on word walls, videos, and the gestures and actions of TPR are all ways to provide visual input.
Very good, very good. Please stand up, stand up, stand up.
Puppets are also a useful way to maintain young children's attention and make them feel comfortable and engaged.
US teachers still traditionally use a narrative text to engage, motivate, and build background knowledge. Big books offer exciting opportunities for the students to engage with the teacher and the text in an interactive read-aloud. Read-alouds are exactly what they sound like. The teacher reads a book aloud. The teacher can engage students in the text by using Total Physical Response, or TPR. The most effective read-alouds also model the cognitive or thinking strategies that will help students to become better readers, as teachers demonstrate their own thinking processes.
About flowers. I wonder why he's thinking about flowers. What do we know about flowers? I bet they smell much better than this stinky basket of laundry.
Thinking processes to be modeled can include predicting, questioning, making connections, visualizing, summarizing, responding, and more.
My aunt has to use a lot of quarters to wash and dry her clothes. Have any of you ever been to a laundromat before? When I used to live in New York City, I washed my clothes.
Interactive read-alouds are also an ideal time to highlight letter-sound relationships.
My aunt takes her dirty clothes to the Rub-a-Dub-Tub laundromat. Hey, listen to those 3 rhyming words. Rub, dub, tub.
An interactive read-aloud would be an ideal first activity for a class period. It would provide the cognitive hook on which the other activities, including those that are in the textbook, can hang. Storyline Online is a resource that could be used in virtual learning environments, as it would allow students to view the text at the same time that the teacher is reading it aloud. Please take a look at our handout to view some useful resources to help select a read aloud that relates to your current unit of instruction. We heard a bit about top-down reading strategies. Let's focus for a minute now on bottom-up reading strategies. Bottom-up reading strategies focus on decoding and recognizing the relationships between letters and sounds. Early reader pattern books can also be useful for bottom-up instruction to draw attention to consonant-vowel-consonant words and word families. Word families are words that have a common pattern of letters that make the same sound.
The cat sat on the hat.
For example, the Bob series of early readers uses narrative sequences of words in the consonant-vowel-consonant pattern only. Teaching spelling and sound patterns and word families can greatly expand spelling and reading ability.
It is best to keep the teacher talk short. 5 to 10-minute mini lessons work best for this age group with their short attention spans. Introduce and practice each step of a lesson one step at a time. Model and demonstrate each step so that children can see exactly what you want them to do. A typical lesson sequence goes like this. First, the teacher will model the activity. Then the class will do that activity together with the teacher. And then the students will do that same activity in partners or independently. We call this I do, we do, you do.
For early language learners, a listening activity might be something like word bingo, where each student has a bingo card full of pictures, and the teacher says words that the students must cross off on their bingo cards. If I were reading the text, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, for example,
On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges.
my bingo card would probably include the days of the week, the numbers 1 through 7, and the caterpillar life cycle words, cocoon, butterfly, caterpillar, and egg. A speaking activity might be something like an inside-outside circle discussion with sentence frames. Students might be given the following sentence frames orally so they could repeat them. What did you eat on a certain day of the week? The answer might be, I ate 6 strawberries on Sunday. The questions would be asked twice. Students in the inside circle would then rotate one person to the left and complete the activity again. Through repetition, but with various partners, students could master the sentence structure, plus the vocabulary terms. In a virtual classroom environment, a tech tool like Flipgrid can easily provide a way for students to interact with each other. Joint construction can give students a chance to practice the basic writing skills in a collaborative environment of working together. Even though elementary foreign language learners may not be able to produce sentences or paragraphs, they certainly can begin to experience the elements of writing construction. Students could draw and label pictures related to the target text to practice vocabulary, or use sentence strips with pictures to sequence the events from the text. Students could also sort word cards by word family, a bottom-up strategy, or by concept, a top-down strategy. Sentence frames, in which students are given the basic sentence structure and fill in key details, can be a low-risk way to begin asking students to write sentences. Google Jamboard might be one way for you to create interactivities like this, like sorting, grouping, and labeling in an online format. Padlet is another possible collaborative writing option. Students can also publish their writing as a wrap-up by displaying it in the classroom or sharing it with a friend.
Their wings are very, very big. Now I tell you what bats look like.
Reader's Theater is about turning a story into a play. Reader's Theater is motivating, collaborative, and easily differentiated. Each character would have lines as the narrative expands into a play. Because of the repeated practice with reading and speaking, Reader's Theater provides an opportunity for students to integrate or put together everything they've learned so far. Because Reader's Theater provides an opportunity for this, it is also typically performed for an audience. All actors in the script must work together, and all levels can participate, as roles can be designed to be non-speaking, single word, or full sentence level. Progress is easily observed by parents and teachers as students complete various Reader's Theater plays throughout the year.
Grr, I am the tiger. The rabbit and the tiger are not good friends. That's true.
Bring what you got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup. And we will have a stone soup feast.
Integrating narrative texts with the curriculum in your textbook can be challenging. But based on our experience, the end result is a classroom full of engaged learners. A good book serves as a model. It models language use, certainly, but reading narrative texts also develops empathy. Being able to see things from a different perspective, to walk a mile in another person's shoes, is a valuable skill for world language learners. Indeed, for us all. A wrap-up, like an exit ticket, is a great mode of formative assessment. It gives teachers a quick way to gauge what their students have understood that day, and can assist in planning for instruction the following class. A closing song or game that reviews the knowledge for the day is another way to close out the lesson. The warm-up and wrap-up are your lesson's bookends, and will allow you to easily link learning from one day to the next.
It's yellow. It's yellow.
A 3-2-1 exit ticket, 3 things I learned, 2 things I liked, 1 thing I have a question about, can be a quick exit ticket idea for students.
Young children need 3 things in order to engage fully in language practice. 1, a social environment in which they feel comfortable talking. 2, something they really want to say. And 3, confidence that when they express themselves in English, someone will understand and respond. To achieve these goals, language teachers work to create a culture of community in the classroom. Classrooms are communities where students engage in practicing authentic language. And we also recognize the benefits of communities of practice where we can exchange ideas and learn from our fellow teachers. Despite its many challenges, this past year gave us unprecedented opportunities to connect across the globe. Nicole and I had the honor of sharing our ideas recently at the virtual International TESOL conference, right from our own homes. Other professional learning networks that provide useful resources are the International Association of Teachers of English as a Foreign Language, or IATEFL, and the National Network for Early Language Learners, NEL. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has a bold plan for developing English instruction for the larger purpose of Vision 2030. Many of our UD Khibrat English teachers spent months in elementary language classrooms in Delaware with young learners of English and of Spanish, Chinese, and Greek. They developed action plans for introducing innovative language pedagogy for this young age, and also models of coaching their fellow English teachers in professional learning communities. With this wise investment in your teachers, Saudi Arabia now has an incredible resource right at home. We at the University of Delaware's ELI applaud the Kingdom's goal to bring language instruction to young learners, where it can have great impact on language acquisition success. As teacher educators, we know that developing instructional skills for young children, just like learning a new language, takes time and practice. And we've heard about some of the great innovations that Saudi English teachers have implemented online this year. The ELI's English teacher training program, DEFT Online, continues to provide professional learning services to teachers around the globe. especially now in this virtual environment. And we look forward to the opportunity to continue our collaborative partnership with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and with our fellow teachers. Let's review the key takeaways from our presentation. Keep the input short and manageable. Use narrative structure or stories to help children make meaning and remember. Teach phonics, the connections and patterns between letters and sounds. Incorporate visual support and movement. Build community, not only in your classroom, but also in professional learning networks with your fellow teachers. And finally, celebrate success every step of the way, the successes of your young learners, and also your successes as teachers of English. Thank you for giving us your attention today. Nicole and I are again so honored to have been invited to this symposium, and we look forward to discussing your questions and ideas.